You see on line number 17, I have declared an array, and also I have set a reference to json.data.root array field. Okay, that field does not exist. Just since it is in the output root, it does not exist because we have not created it on line number 17. Creation actually happens on line number 20. Let's see what happens in this case. By my code, we'll test it. We'll take this execution group into debug mode. Deployment is done. Deployment is successful. We have taken this into debug. This is the flow that I have. So let's put a breakpoint here. Shooter is used. Push a message in. Got the message into debug. First few lines are not important. So here, domain is created. Output root.json is created on this line. It's empty. Next, we created a reference to the field, to the variable called parray, and then see, only when I executed line number 20 did the actual array was visible to you, right?
Yes.
Until now it was not visible. When on executing line number 17 it was not visible. On executing line number 20, that is when we created a field called item under root array field. That is when the blank field reference parray out was visible. So let's go to the next step, and here we see that parray out now has two children within it, child 1, child 2, and with a value of hello. Go look at the JSON array, it will have the root field, item, child 1, child 2, so on. That's the difference. Now let's go see what happens. So what have we done here? I told you that line number 18 is commented out. So that identity JSON keywords were not applied. But what we instead did was we put output root.json.data.root array field at the declaration section. While declaring, we declared it to this root array field, and then we are trying to create this JSON output. So in debug mode, you can see all those fields. Now let's see what it actually represents when it gets serialized into a JSON onto a queue. So this output is going into a queue. I'm continuing the debug session. Output is now available in this queue. I'm going to browse first. There are two messages. I'm going to read both the messages. So the last message would be ours. So this is how it looks. And let's now save the value into a JSON file and see what the output is. Let's look at the data in Notepad++. You want to reload? Yes, I want to reload. This formatted the JSON using JS plugins, JS tool plugin. And do you see the difference now? We have set the value, we have declared the reference to output root.json dot something, and what we did there is,
yes, I'm able to see.
okay, the eSQL files are now visible on the screen. So on line number 16, we have created the domain. Line number 17, we have declared an array, declared a reference, sorry. And in line number 17, we are also assigning a reference to that array. So previously it was environment.ignore. Now it is output root dot something.
Yes.
Okay. Next, what have I done? I have commented out line number 18, which was creating a using the words identity and JSON array. Now that's gone. Line number 20, where we are creating a field called item. Output root JSON data root array field dot item. Now that is also gone. Item is also not getting created. So we have declared a field on 17. We have set a reference to it, and that reference is pointing to what it's pointing to a place which does not exist. Output root JSON data root array does not exist. We have not created it. It is blank. Next, on line number 21, I am setting the value to the reference as child1 dot child2 is equal to hello. Okay. So what happens there? Our expectation is that inside a root array, these elements should get created, right? Inside JSON, these elements should get created, right?
Yes.
But look at the debug mode. Where is it getting created?
It doesn't have a root array field.
Correct. And where is JSON? Where is child1?
So the
They are
JSON
siblings. So it should come under JSON, right?
yes.
But it is coming as a sibling to JSON. Now, if I propagate this message to the queue, what will happen? So I'll show you the response structure. This is the response structure of JSON child1, child2. Cut this. Now, if I propagate this JSON to a queue, what will happen?
It throws an error, right?
Yes. We got an error. An exception list is generated. Let's see what the content.
Your voice is not audible.
Is it low or is it not audible at all?
Not audible at all.
How did you hear that I said not audible at all? Okay. I'll call
Now
you
it's
on.
working. Now it's working. But when I said like, I mean, your voice is not audible, then
Okay, it was a momentary lapse. So just for a little time, it was creating an issue. Some network glitch then. All right. So now we understood that it is creating an error.
yes.
So now we'll go back to the eSQL and code is visible. On line number 16, it was important to create a domain called JSON. And in line number 17, it was important to always point to a path, an X path which already exists. So you can point it to input root dot some field dot properties dot quoted character set, for example, because that thing exists. But we should not point it to output root dot something, because we have not created that output root yet. So
But
without creating the output root, if you try to assign a reference, what will happen? That field is not available, and you will create an error. You will create an output structure which was not your intention.
okay, my small doubt is you have shown us like environment.ignore. Does it
Yes.
already existed or?
environment.ignore, this line, it does not exist. Why
Then
am I
what?
saying as environment.ignore? Because on line number 17, whatever is written, you can ignore that. The reason is on line number 20, we are actually assigning a value to that field, to that reference. P array out to that reference, whatever was available on 17, you can ignore. Whatever is available on 20 is the value that we are assigning. So if I take this out and put output root dot something over there, it's not a problem. You can use that as well. Output root dot like that. You will not create any errors. You will not create any exception list, and your output will be generated perfect. But whatever you write here is not actually being considered by that reference. IIB is not considering whatever you have written on line number 17. Only what you have written on line number 20 is being considered. So how do we tell the developer that line number 17 can be ignored? Just write like this. Developer, please ignore this line. Developer, please ignore this assignment. Reference declaration cannot be ignored. Reference has to be declared. We have to declare the reference. Without the declaration, you cannot use it in line number 21, 22, so on. But assignment can be ignored. You can assign it to anything, input root, output root, anything. It does not matter.
So you are overriding that one in 20, line number 20.
Yes, we are overriding the previous assignment on line 17 with line number 20. 17 does not matter. 720 is what is important. We are overriding.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that declaration is important, but the assignment is not important. That has to be made clear to the person who is using this code, right?
Yeah.
Declaration is important. You can developer, you can ignore this assignment, but declaration is important. What some companies usually do is they create all their declarations at the start of the line. So they'll do something like this. Here is a, you can copy that. Everything will be at the start.
Yeah. I have seen this type of coding.
They'll create variables, they'll create numbers, integer, value, something. So some organizations will follow this practice. The reason is this where it came from is from the C language. In C language with the old compilers, what they wanted was if you tell the compiler in the beginning itself that this is a variable and I'm going to be using this variable, then it will do some pre-processing and it will save you some memory, it will save you some what do you say, some errors, it will avoid some errors. So this was from long back, maybe 10-15 years ago, when C language was in its initial stage and people wanted to inform the compiler some instructions. That is when it started, and that same practice has been being followed by many organizations in eSQL, in Java, in many other languages, but it's not actually required. eSQL is built on a different compiler, and that compiler can understand the declarations even if you put it on line number 10, 20, 50 and so on. But for the sake of developer, if you want to inform the developer something, C developer that I'm going to create these 5 variables, and you'll put some comments there that this variable is used for this, and this source, if we are going to assign this kind of a value here, and those kind of instructions, if you want to give to the developer, you have to put some comments. And for example, we'll say that this represents a temperature and it can only be used between the range 20 and 30. The temperature should not be more than 30. It should cannot be less than 20. So now that's not a data limitation that this integer field gives you. That's you're telling the developer that you follow this while you are coding. So these kind of instructions you can give either to the developer or you can give it to the compiler. That is why people were using at the initial stage. Any other questions?
No.